And joining me on the phone now is Mr. Vince Baillargeon. He's the CEO of a company called Paradigm Oil and Gas Incorporated. PDGO is their stock symbol. Vince, always good to hear from you.
It's my pleasure always being able to come aboard there, Don.
Well, Vince, of course, we're announcing this week that we're reinitiating coverage of the company. Very pleased to be doing that. Tell us again what the company's all about.
Well, the company, we're an oil production company producing new wells and taking old existing ones and uncapping them and checking out to check the history out, and if they're successful, we're putting them into production. And since we last talked, we've been quite successful at that.
Well, it's really an interesting business model because a lot of these wells were shut down, say 10, maybe 15, 20 years ago when oil prices were not where they are today, and now they've become basically potentially profitable again. Is that pretty much a good description?
Yeah, that's true, but the operators couldn't, the operators looked at higher ways of, it was a lot more expensive to really get as much as you could out of a well. There, the technology of fracking and dropping acid in and flushing out the system to build the pressure for the oil, makes it where you can do it. You can take a well that's been capped but has a proven reserve, uncap it, test it, show that there's some oil in there by either blowing through it, putting water pressure, taking a gas test to it, or acidizing it before you frack and you start spending the money. Once you know that there's some oil there, and it's all the ratio, whether it's how many barrels you can get out per day, and this is going to be worth the while to spend 50, 100,000, or whatever it's going to cost you to frack a new well, and that's expanded so there's more pressure and you get oil. So, a lot of the properties that we had in Paradigms that were shut down because they weren't producing enough, the company didn't have the money, we started with some of them, and, we've got 4 properties right now. We're producing oil, and, to tell you the truth, we're putting out 50 royalty checks to oil and shareholders in the next day or two to show to the market. We were very fortunate. We hit one of our wells in Texas that went just in a light test. We hit 172 barrels in one day.
Well, Vince, of course, we're going to...
without fracking. Hey, Don, that's without fracking it. So if we frack that well, we could get up to 100, 200 more. So, maybe 200 or 300 a well. That's $500,000 plus a month per well.
Wow. Well, I know we're going to get into a long discussion about the company in a couple of weeks, as we're going to have you via satellite with us from Tampa, Florida. Once again, the company is Paradigm Oil and Gas Incorporated, PDGO. Again, we're reinitiating coverage of this company. Vince, looking forward to that long interview. Thanks so much for joining us once again.
All right, you got it, Don. You have a great day, too, and stay in that sunny Southern California weather.
Thanks so much.
All right, bye.